Here's part 2 to what if Vader saved Padme using time travel. Our tale picks up where we left off, on the landing platform of the fiery world of Mustafar. Anakin was crying on Padme's shoulder, sobbing uncontrollably at the realization of what he's done. Vader's influence on Anakin earlier had changed the course of the timeline, which is why he was shortly erased when Anakin came back to his senses by leaving the dark side. Vader's revelation of Anakin's true worries were not taken lightly by Anakin and Obi-Wan. Padme didn't understand what was going on, but one thing was for sure, is that the course of history would be altered regardless. Whether it was for the better or worse was yet to be seen. As Anakin continued his breakdown, he was mumbling and apologizing to Padme like a frightened child. Padme could feel he was being genuine. Just moments ago, he sounded like a complete psychopath. And now, it's almost as if he snapped back into the Anakin she truly knew. The man she first fell in love with all those years ago. Anakin was so deep into his emotions that he didn't sense Obi-Wan's hand on his shoulder as he stood right behind him. He turned his head, looking up, and saw his old friend, attempting to comfort him, with a worried look on his face. The troubled young Skywalker stepped back. Kenobi sensed a slight outburst incoming. Remember, in the original timeline, when Obi-Wan revealed himself, Anakin was under the assumption that Padme brought him here to kill him, which is why he got even more angry and attacked her in a fit of blinded rage. Before Anakin flipped out, Padme shockingly reacted to Kenobi's presence, telling Obi-Wan how did he get here. This subtle interaction revealed to Anakin that Padme didn't intend on Obi-Wan coming. He also sensed she was being honest. Obi-Wan spoke up, saying to Anakin that he desperately wanted to help him, and that it's not too late to return to the light. He stepped back even more, confused, conflicted, and lost. Anakin could feel that Obi-Wan was telling the truth. Deep down, he just knew it. And with the shift in the Force, this almost assured Anakin that following the path of the dark side was not the way. But a piece of him still wasn't certain. Obi-Wan walked closer, explaining that he doesn't want to hurt him, and that he wants to help him and Padme. But to do this, he needs Anakin to trust him. Obi-Wan and Padme got closer to the already uneasy Skywalker. He extended his hand out to stop them, igniting his lightsaber. He was visibly unsure of what to do, how to feel, and how to react. A part of Anakin felt that it was far too late to return to the light, especially after the slaughter of the Younglings, Mace's death, and everything. Obi-Wan pleaded again that he wanted to help him badly, and that he's here for him. He's not against him. A conflicted Anakin looked to both Kenobi and Padme. Seconds later, he then deactivated his lightsaber and fell to his knees as he came to the full realization of the horrible reality of his crimes. Anakin cried out,
"What have I done?"
We cut to Coruscant, in Palpatine's office, right under the Galactic Senate chamber, shortly after he declared himself Emperor and converted the Republic into the Galactic Empire. Sidious had sensed a shift in the Force. This shift in the galaxy was Anakin's abandonment of the Sith and his return to the light. At the time Palpatine felt the shift in this moment, Yoda had not made his way to the Senate building yet. Sidious told his vice chair, Masameda, that he had just sensed Lord Vader's betrayal. The Sith Lord prepared to depart to Mustafar. Thus the duel between Yoda and the Emperor didn't happen here, like in the original timeline.
Tell Captain Kage to prepare my shuttle for immediate takeoff. I sense Lord Vader has betrayed me.
Obi-Wan and Padme slowly approached Anakin a little bit more. They kneeled down, placing their hands on his shoulder in comfort. Obi-Wan stared into his eyes and calmly asked him why he willingly followed Sidious's commands. He sensed that there was more to this. He was worried deeply for his friend, his brother. This is where Anakin spilled everything. Padme wiped the tears off of her husband's face as he began to explain to Obi-Wan about his nightmares, witnessing Padme die in childbirth, and how Palpatine found out and promised him that he could help him save her from certain death. Anakin continued looking down as he couldn't bear to look Obi-Wan and Padme in the eyes. He was just so ashamed of what he had done and become. This monster that he became is not the person that the little boy on Tatooine envisioned to be. This was far from the Jedi Knight he dreamed of being, but they still believed in him. The Senator and Jedi Master worriedly glanced to each other. She added that Anakin had been under a lot of stress because of these nightmares. Obi-Wan figured that Anakin would think he was disappointed in him if he told him about this, his relationship with Padme, but instead, he comforted Anakin, as a part of Obi-Wan already knew, but wouldn't tell. He made sure to let Anakin know that he's here for him, regardless. Anakin was slightly relieved at this, as if all the weight of his fears were let go. He mentioned shortly after that he couldn't lose Padme the way he lost his mother. He just couldn't. He didn't care for the Sith. He only wanted to save his wife, and the only way to do this, from his understanding, was to join the Sith and do Sidious's bidding. Obi-Wan informed Anakin that he was a victim in a much larger web, that he had been manipulated to do Sidious's bidding under false promises. These promises were without a doubt coiled in malice and deception, the way of the Sith. Obi-Wan highlighted that his nightmares were likely false premonitions conjured by Sidious, a manipulation tactic to sway him to his side, by playing on his emotions and fears. How else would the Sith Lord know about that? Anakin slowly came back to his senses even more, realizing that the Chancellor is evil and can't be trusted, but a piece of him remains inside, conflicted and uncertain. The Chosen One stood up. The more time passed by, the more he acknowledged his unspeakable crimes. It all hit him like a storm. He started to constantly apologize for what he did. The screeching screams of the younglings and Jedi in the temple began to haunt him. Anakin placed his hand over his head in absolute sadness and guilt. Obi-Wan reassured him that they would figure this out together. But first, they needed to find the Emperor and kill him. Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan come to a mutual agreement that the Chancellor must be neutralized, just as Mace Windu said earlier.
He's too dangerous to be left alive.
Kenobi brought up that if they are to strip Sidious of his power, they'd have to kill him, as there is no other way. If Anakin and Obi-Wan are to confront and kill the Emperor, they must be very careful on how to approach this battle. But little do they know that he was well on his way. Our three heroes wasted no time as they begun formulating a plan and discussing the consequences of killing the Emperor. This would most definitely turn the public against the Jedi Order for good. Anakin told Obi-Wan that he could sense Palpatine coming. They order Padme to hide in her ship and try to contact Master Yoda and Senator Bail Organa. Obi-Wan gave Anakin one last word of wisdom and assurance. The two brothers stood side by side, piercing their eyes into the red skies as Sidious's shuttle entered the atmosphere, shortly after landing nearby. While Anakin thought about what Obi-Wan just told him, he still wasn't sure if this was the right way to go about things. He saw Palpatine's power firsthand, and a part of him is still convinced that the Sith Lord is the key to saving Padme. But another side of him tells him that he can't be trusted, and that Obi-Wan is right. The Emperor's ship visibly entered the atmosphere. It hovered over our heroes and landed on the landing platform. The doors opened, revealing the dark, shadowy figure. Darth Sidious walked down the ramp, accompanied by 2 royal guards and 4 clone troopers.
This time we will do it together.
I understand, Master.
Sidious walked forward in disgust and anger. A boiling rage of pure darkness overtook Sidious's emotions.
Master Kenobi, you survived.
You will answer for your crimes. Your perversion of the Force ends here.
Your arrogance blinds you. It appears you have forgotten your place, Lord Vader. If you reject the dark side, you will not be strong enough to save Padme.
Don't lecture me, Chancellor. I see through the lies of the Sith. Don't make me kill you.
I offered you true power to save her, and you betrayed me. Now she will die, and you will not be able to save her from certain death.
Liar!
Now you will experience the full power of the dark side.
The Jedi ignited their lightsabers. Anakin without hesitation leaped over Sidious, instantly killing the clone troopers surrounding him, and pairing up his blue blade up against the Sith Lord's crimson one. Obi-Wan focused his attacks on the two royal guards, making quick work of them. Alone, Kenobi would stand no chance against Sidious, just as Master Yoda told him at the Jedi Temple.
Send me to kill the Emperor. I will not kill Anakin.
To fight this Lord Sidious strong enough, you are not.
But with Anakin on his side, he may stand a chance. Shortly after killing the two royal guards, Obi-Wan regrouped across the landing platform with Anakin, sprinting with quick speed. The two began aggressively rushing the Chancellor with a fury of lightsaber attacks. The three men dueled up to the edge of the platform. The vicious clashes of lightsabers can be heard from inside Padme's ship. Sidious force-kicked Obi-Wan as he regained balance in midair and landed swiftly. Palpatine's two main objectives in this duel was to separate Kenobi and Skywalker, and to attempt more of his manipulation on Anakin, in hopes of turning him against Obi-Wan again. That would ensure Kenobi's death, and with Anakin by his side, Sidious would be able to take on Yoda much easier if it came to that. The battle continued across the bridge where the two fought in the original timeline. Anakin and Obi-Wan had to maintain the same pace. They were in perfect sync, countering every fatal blow Sidious attempted to execute, but it wasn't easy. This was the most difficult and dangerous battle both Jedi had ever been in. The fight moves into the corridor. Palpatine took this advantage to spin around violently in hopes of overwhelming them. Anakin managed to grab his arm up close quickly as Sidious attacked him. This allowed Obi-Wan to quickly move in and strike his saber down with a powerful slash. But Palpatine was just too fast and blocked this as he slid across the floor smoothly. Obi-Wan began to move into the hallway, continuing his blocking of the Emperor's deadly moveset, as Anakin followed right behind and also attempted to land a crushing blow. Their lightsabers cut around the corridor's tight walls, leaving scorch marks everywhere. Finally, they arrived at one of the command rooms. They dueled nearby the dead bodies of the Separatist leaders, just above the steps. Palpatine parried with their blades once more, and they all maneuvered downward and hit one of the controls with a violent swing, destroying it entirely. The fight proceeds into the war room. Anakin was pushed back with the Force, crashing up against the wall. This gave Palpatine a very quick 11 seconds to finish off Obi-Wan alone with a lethal Force choke. Luckily, Anakin quickly jumped in and grabbed Sidious by the throat, on top of the table as he aggressively attempted to push his lightsaber down onto his neck. Anakin was not holding back. At this point, he was still Anakin inside, but fought with the raw, untamed rage and power of Vader. He desperately wanted to kill the man who lied to him and played on his thoughts and emotions for all these years. Sidious, however, did not let go of his grip. He was holding onto Anakin's arm in attempts to stop the blade from completely decapitating him, while his other hand had a tight grip on the Force, choking Obi-Wan. He had to let go quickly, as he couldn't focus his energy on both of them in this specific moment. Palpatine kicked Anakin off of him, while Obi-Wan quickly recovered. Skywalker immediately went to dropkick Sidious, but the Sith Lord dodged it, resulting in Anakin accidentally hitting Obi-Wan instead. Kenobi fell on his back, but stood up quickly. Anakin charged at Sidious to tackle him fast, but was kicked and flipped through the air. He painfully fell on his back again. Sidious was on one knee. This left him vulnerable to a fatal hit, which Obi-Wan quickly tried to take advantage of. He grabbed his lightsaber with the Force and struck down, but Palpatine, being one step ahead, blocked it, as he hid his lightsaber inside his sleeve to give the illusion it had been knocked from his hand. The duel moved into the middle of the command room shortly after. Obi-Wan and Anakin clashed with the Emperor back and forth. The three men swung their sabers rapidly in motion to build up momentum, just before they clashed again in a tight parry. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Sidious pull their arms back and motion a powerful Force push attack. They are then sent back violently across the room. Anakin without hesitation recovered very quickly and dashed towards Sidious, jumping over the command table as Palpatine reacted quickly and evaded the attack, which caused Anakin to strike the control system that was managing the shields for the bridge outside. They make their way out of the door as it opened up. Obi-Wan gave Palpatine a slight kick, which gave him and Anakin some distance between him. Palpatine pushed into Obi-Wan's direction, giving him a violent kick across the face, in hopes of staggering him for a killing blow. But Anakin again, with his quick thinking and reflexes, cut in between and blocked the Sith Lord's fatal blow, which saved his master. Sidious began laughing at Anakin, mocking him for choosing the wrong path. This only angered Skywalker even more. The Sith Lord jumped on the pipe that connected to the balcony. Obi-Wan jumped over him, while Anakin landed in front so that they may trap him. They continued moving slowly across it. One misstep and death meets them at the bottom of the endless river of lava. The constant steam and smoke firing out from the pipes made it difficult to see and focus. Our three duelists tried to maintain their balance and limit their strikes until jumping down onto a more secure platform. They eventually did jump down shortly, and Anakin didn't waste any time on attacking the Emperor. He parried him and lowered his guard, which gave Anakin an opening to strike him with his robotic arm. Sidious almost stumbled over. When he glanced up, Anakin gave him an angry death stare. He could feel the rage and darkness radiating off of his former apprentice. They clashed again, holding each other's arms and hands in hopes of disarming one another. Obi-Wan had been waiting for an opening. They jumped on the section of the bridge that held the structure they were on with wires, striking and blocking each other's attacks and counters relentlessly. They noticed the lava raining over the platform as molten rocks started to crash upon them. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine quickly ran behind each of the pillars to take cover. The two Jedi looked up, attempting to think of a quick way to avoid this debris without getting incinerated. The bridge lost support and began to break off from the main structure. They instantly made a run for it, making their way up as the bridge fell down into the river below. The lightsaber clashing started again, with all three men hanging on for dear life. Obi-Wan took notice at the incoming lava fall they were about to fall into. They jumped and grabbed onto a set of wires, swinging across as they attempted to cut Palpatine off. Obi-Wan and Anakin then jumped onto the small floating platform and droid hovering over the lava. Sidious was a bit late on getting off the bridge, but he made it out on time before falling into the fiery pit of death that waited. He made his way over to them, keeping some distance until he was ready. He unleashed a flurry of attacks. To them, he looked like a blur of red light. Sidious visibly saw that Anakin and Obi-Wan were getting exhausted. He could feel it, but they weren't ready to give up just yet. After the series of attacks and combinations of deadly swings, they paused for a moment. This is what Palpatine had been waiting for, the right moment to manipulate Anakin in hopes of turning him to the dark side again.
Search your feelings, Anakin. You know this is not the way. Obi-Wan is trying to turn you against me. Do you not see? The Jedi plan to overthrow me. Search your feelings. You know this to be true. If the Jedi succeed, do you really think they will bring you back with open arms and help you save your wife?
The fires of the lava river raged on. Anakin's look of concern to Obi-Wan was followed by a fearful yet angry stare to Palpatine. His head was down as his eyes wandered off, contemplating of not only what he should do next, but what is the right choice for the well-being of his wife, Padme.